My Hebrew brothers and sisters, the 12 tribes of Israel scattered all over the earth, welcome back. This is Dr. Moray Yeshua, and we just want to say how much we thank you for your subscriptions and for your likes and your comments. And as I always say, most of all, thank you so much for your prayers. So in the last session, we dealt with verse 1. And now we're going to be dealing with verse 2. All right? And here in verse 2, we said, "Hear the voice of my supplication when I cry unto thee, when I lift up my hands toward the holy oracle." Okay, the word "hear" is a word that we use frequently, especially when we're saying the Shema. Hear, O Israel, YAHUAH, or Eloheinu, YAHUAH is one. Okay, and so it's like calling his attention. Hear, okay, hear, hear my voice, the voice of my supplication. My brothers and sisters, you know that prayer is in several categories, areas. We have supplication, right? And as believers, we supplicate, right? We have intercession, where we're interceding on the behalf of someone else. And we also have prayer and praise, where we devote a time and a moment, to giving thanks, to Yahuwah for all his blessings, for all his goodness to us, as my brothers and sisters. Praise his name. We praise him. We give him honor and praise, and we worship, before him. Right? So here, the word shama is a Hebrew word. Shama means to hear, and the consonants that made up the Hebrew letters that make up this word here is shin and mem and ayin. Shama. Okay, of course it has the Hebrew they have the markations that the vowels markations. Okay, all right. So shama, all right. And what it's saying here is means to hear, right? And in a sense, it's like hear attentively. Hear attentively is call, gather together, or carefully or certainly to consent or to consider. That's what the word is. And my brothers and sisters, it comes from a primitive root to hear intelligently. To hear intelligently, often with implication of attention or an obedience. No, we, our humble selves, inferior self to Yahuwah, we cannot command Yahuwah. We cannot command him to do anything. He commands us. We do what he says. We can't tell him to do what we say. So when we approach him, we have to approach him with humility. And so here is when the psalmist David, when he's asking him to hear, is not the same way as like you're commanding him to do something. We're pleading with him. We are begging him. We are asking him. Yahuwah is not asking us to do anything. Yahuwah is telling us. Yahuwah is commanding us. Hear, O Israel, is commanding us. Listen to me, Israel. And here in this psalm, when he asking Yahuwah to to hear, is begging him, is asking him, is requesting of him. Okay, so even though the word means, carefully and certainly, or to consider, to hear intelligently. Yahuwah is intelligent. We know that. But I'm saying this for our part, so we'll understand that often the word is used with an implication of attention or obedience, causatively to tell, or attentively to call, or together, and so this is what it's talking about here. Is like be content or declare, diligently, and my brothers and sisters, our diligence is important. Okay, our diligence is important. Yahuwah is always in His holiness. He's righteous, and He's always does what He said going to do. So we know that He's diligent in that sense. Okay, and but here the psalmist is saying, make to hear. Well, Yahuwah, give me your ear. Please, Yahuwah, listen to me. And when he said here, he's saying in the sense that he hopes that there's nothing that is causing any, thing that would hinder Yahuwah from hearing. Okay. And my brothers and sisters, we are to have this attitude that when we go to Yahuwah and when we're praying to Him, when we're asking Him a favor, that in our lives, everything about us, my brothers and my sisters, everything about us is right. Okay? Because many times, we want to command Yahuwah to do something for us. It's like we want to ask, the way we talk to Him, the way we approach Him, my brothers and my sisters, is like, you better obey me. No. Get out of here with that. Yahuwah doesn't have to obey nothing you say. Say, no, we're not talking to our friends. We're not talking to our kids. We're not talking to our company. We approach Him with humility. We don't order Him around. Many times, sometimes, you've been watching some of those TV shows, and sometimes this is why I don't basically like to watch anything with like a comedy, and because they talk all kind of foolishness and they use all kind of words that not conducive to our living. And sometimes I'll see a guy them on it, and they're praying, right? If you're up there, who is he talking about? If you're up there, you know what? Number one, you know what the word "if" means? The "if" means it's a possibility that you are or you're not. It's a possibility that something exists or something not existing. A matter of fact, when you're writing a dissertation, you have to use the word in your abstract. When you're writing the abstract of the dissertation, you have to use the word "if" in there. Because, you see, in approaching something, you're not sure how the outcome gonna be. So you use the word "if." You're not sure how the outcome gonna be if. It's like saying, okay, if it's Yahuwah's will tomorrow or later on the next hour, I will do so and so. Okay. You don't know how that's gonna be. So you cannot approach it like, well, I'm sure. Because if you're sure, then you don't do it. It's already done. So what happened here, when we're approaching Yahuwah, my brothers and my sisters, we can't approach him that way, like we're writing an abstract. I've written 3 different dissertations. And I understand how you have to use the word if there is a possibility that you may reach a conclusion, or it's a possibility that you may not reach a conclusion, what you're trying to prove. But with Yahuwah now, it's different. We don't approach him like we're writing an abstract. It's like in the Hebrews, the epistle to the Hebrews, it said I think it's Hebrews chapter 12, he who comes to Yahweh must believe that he is, and that he is the rewarder of them that diligently seek him. So now, when we're approaching him, we approach him from that standpoint. We know that he is. We know that he exists. And we don't say, if you up there, if you're hearing me up there. No, we don't approach him like that. That is not. And then sometimes, we laugh after the idea and for the way they say it. We don't laugh after that. It hurts me to my guts to hear people say something like that. That is disrespect. We don't approach our Elohim like that. He is our creator. He is our YAHUAH. And we don't approach him like that. We approach him in sincerity. We approach him in honesty. We approach him with humility. We approach him with obedience. When we approach him, we are showing him that we acknowledge who he is and that he exists, and that not only that he exists, but for those of us who are believers, he living in us. And if he's living in us, you see me use the word if here now? Because I use the word if here in the sense that it's a possibility that he's living in you, and there's a possibility that he may not living in you. Okay, how can I prove? How can I prove that he's living in me? Okay, I know him by faith. He's living in me. And if he's living in me, then it means that I have to live a certain kind of life. I have to show holiness. Okay? I have to show holiness. I have to show a set apartness. And when he's living in you, you cannot be out there living in a derogatory lifestyle. You got to show that he's living in you. Okay? So by this shall all men know that you are my disciple, if you keep my commandment. One of his commandments is to love one another. And if we cannot love one another who we're seeing, we cannot say we love him who we have not seen physically with our eyes. We can't do that. So it's a different thing when you come on that. So then when we talk about hear me, it is saying we are asking Yahuwah to grant us his ears, to pay attention to us. We're not commanding him to do that. Okay? We are not commanding Yahuwah to do anything, but we are trusting him to do what he said and what he promised that he will do. So as I hear my voice, the voice of my supplication. He's supplicating, and then he said, when I cried unto thee. And the word supplication here is a word, and is the Hebrew word is takanun, takanun, and what it's saying here is supplication for favor. You know, we're supplicating for favor, right? And the word is ket. No. I mean, the word is tav, ket, nun, kat. Is it tav, ket, nun, vav, and nun. And the word here means supplication for favor. It's like an earnest prayer, okay? It's an entreaty, it's a supplication. Remember, we talk about supplication, we talk about intercession, we talk about prayer and praise. Those are the three areas of prayer, okay? All right. And so, listen to what he said here. So hear the voice of my supplication when I cry unto thee. And listen what he said. When I lift up my hands toward thy holy oracle. Now, the word here, to lift up here is a word nasa. Nasa. And the Hebrew word nasa, which is nun, sin, and aleph. The difference with the word sin, the letter sin here, the consonant sin can, sometimes it is shin, okay, but it depends on where you have the notation, or there's a notation mark over the letter. So if it's to the left, it's sin. If it's to the right, it's shin. You pronounce shin. All right? And so the word nasa or nasa here is to lift or to carry or to take. To lift or to carry or to take or to accept in advance or to arise or able to. It's an arm or suffer to bear. Okay? Suffer to bear, to bear up, or to bring forth. And this word is also used in a great, variety of application. I mean, because it can also, from the primitive root, it can also means to lift. All right, it can means to lift, in a great variety of application, literally or figuratively, and it can means to accept or to advance or to arise. To suffer up, or so on. To fetch or to forgive or to furnish. They say lift up, to give, or to go on, or to help, to hold up, something honorable, plus something that is magnify, something that to obtain, like obtaining pardon, you lift you up, to raise you up, regard or to respect, and so on. But my brothers and sisters, what it's talking about is it can also means to stir up, or to yield. That's what the word is. And so when I lift up my hands yad, the word yad, its hand means yod and dalet, and it is basically able, it's like the primitive root hand. You open your hand, right? You open your hand, indicating power or means, of direction. By distinction, or you can close one and you can open one. I like in Jamaica. Many places where, even though they have the traffic lights, sometimes they close the traffic light down, and the police officer will stand in the middle, you know, where car gonna go around him. And sometimes it's like a dangerous thing because he's standing right in the center, right? And he's holding his hand up. And sometimes that when he stand with his hand down and one up, it means stop, right? Anybody coming in front of them or behind him, when they see this hand up like that, it means stop, right? And then you have a way of having his hand turn, you know, stretch his arm out straight with his hand, and it means that the car is going back left and right, okay? And when he hold both hands up, it means nobody pass, okay? Nobody pass. So the idea of the hand here can also means power, okay? It can also means power, and it is used in so many different ways. The word, some people say they have the person has a hard hand, a heavy hand. We're talking about the power that he has, you know, in telling you to do things and showing you that, you know, sometimes they give you a thumb, you know. Sometimes he put his thumb up, and then sometimes he put, you know, close his arm and his fist, you know. He's ruling. And sometimes the rulers, you know, say they're ruling with a heavy hand, with a, you know, showing his fist. Power. Okay. And you know, when they used to have what they call the black power movement and the white power movement. You know, it's just the white people going around with their hand holding up. And you say black people going around with their hand holding up too. So everybody have power, you know, but there's no power, okay? There's no power given to anybody unless Yahuwah give them that power, okay? Even though, you know, they say the policeman get the power from whatever the leadership is, and the soldier get the power, and, you know, the president of the United States have no power unless the people give them the power, you know, all right? There's some things that, like the Congress will say, you can make that, you know, you can make that decision on your own. You have the power to do that because we give you the power to do it. You know, so you don't have to run to the Congress every minute to get that power, certain power. But there's certain power. There's certain thing that the president cannot do by himself. You have to get the power from the leadership, the Congress. But who give the Congress the leadership? We the people. We give them the power to do certain things. All right? And we're going to stop here. And we will come back. You know, we'll come back to verse 2. All right? And so we're going to ask you to be a blessing to someone today and walk with the King. Shalom.